It stuck a little, like the frame had warped. The hallway was darker than the outside, even though there was still daylight. The air smelled stale, like old carpet and something else. Something like cooking that had happened a long time ago and never quite left. I walked to the mailboxes and looked for the apartment number that matched mine. 307. I found it, the third box from the left. There was a nameplate next to it. My name. My actual full name printed on a small white label. I remember my hands started shaking a little. I'm not someone who scares easily, but something about seeing my name in that building, in that hallway, made my stomach feel tight. I climbed the stairs. They creaked under my feet. The second floor hallway was identical to the first. The same faded carpet, the same buzzing fluorescent light that looked like it was dying. I kept going to the third floor. Apartment 37 was at the end of the hallway. The door was painted a dark green, and it looked newer than the rest of the building, like it had been replaced recently. I stood in front of it for maybe 30 seconds just looking at it. I didn't have keys for this place. I had no reason to think anything was inside, but I could hear something. A sound. It was faint, but it was definitely coming from inside. It sounded like someone moving around. Footsteps, maybe, or something being moved across a floor. And then I heard running water, like a shower or a sink. Someone was in there. I knocked. I don't know why I did that. Some instinct took over. The water stopped immediately. The footsteps I'd heard, if that's what they were, stopped. There was just silence. I waited about 10 seconds. Nothing. I knocked again, harder this time. I heard footsteps approaching the door. They were slow, deliberate. Someone was coming to answer. I felt my pulse in my neck. The footsteps stopped right on the other side of the door. I could sense someone looking through the peephole. We were both standing there, me on one side, them on the other, probably less than a foot apart. Then the footsteps backed away. Slowly. I heard them retreat deeper into the apartment. I knocked again. "Hello," I said. "I'm sorry to bother you. I think there's been some kind of mistake with my address." No response. I stood there for another minute, then turned and walked back down the hallway. I was doing the math in my head, trying to figure out if this was some kind of identity theft thing, or if someone had fraudulently registered an apartment in my name. It didn't quite fit either explanation. I got back in my car and drove home the normal way, using my memory instead of GPS. The whole drive I was thinking about the sound of those footsteps, how deliberate they were, how they'd stopped right at the door. I didn't go to the police. I didn't really know what I'd report. A person in an apartment. No crime in that. An address mix-up? Happens all the time. But I did something I've never done before or since. When I got home, I looked at my phone, at all my photos. I printed out a picture of myself, just a simple headshot, and I put it in my wallet. The reason I did that was because, standing outside that apartment door, listening to those footsteps retreat, I'd realized something that made my skin go cold. The person on the other side of that door had heard my voice, and they'd chosen not to respond. They'd turned around and walked away, which meant they knew who was out there. They knew what I sounded like. I kept that photo in my wallet for 3 years. I looked at it sometimes to remind myself what I actually looked like, to confirm that I was still me. Because I couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere across the city, in that faded building on Millbrook Avenue, there was someone who looked exactly like me. Someone who'd chosen not to answer the door,